6 o'clock. We'll bring the meeting to order. If you would all stand and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. You may be seated. Welcome to the City of West Melbourne's regular council meeting tonight. Members of the public are welcome to speak on any topic, whether it is on tonight's agenda or on any issue that is important to you. Each person that wishes to speak should complete a speaker's card, which are located by the door and submitted ahead of time to the clerk over there, who sits at the end of the dais. After you have been recognized to speak, please use the microphone at the podium and clearly state your name and address for the record. Please address all your comments to the City Council rather than to individual members. Direct all questions to the chair. Speakers will be given up to three minutes to speak. All are present. We're not missing anyone. All right, thank you very much. We'll get started with the new employee introduction. Mr. Rohde.
Good evening, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, members of the council. It is my absolute great pleasure to introduce our new city engineer, Cam Staubus. Cam, if you want to come up and join me. As you're aware, last year when we were going through the budget process, we took a look at our scope of service for many of the engineering firms that we work with, and it got cost prohibitive, and so we put into the budget a new position for the city, which was the city engineer. And it is my great pleasure to introduce Cam tonight. Cam's hit the ground running here. We've got him working on some water and sewer projects as well as part of our development team. So anytime a development comes in, it goes under review from planning and building department and now our city engineering department. And so with that, I introduce you to Cam, and I think he's got a few words he'd like to say.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. Cam Staubus, the new city engineer. Real glad to be here working with the city. Grew up in Brevard County, Melbourne, Florida, just up in Suntry there, 20 minutes north of here. Got 2 degrees from University of Central Florida in environmental engineering. In grad school, I worked at the university's drinking water research lab under Dr. Dranso, kind of a great mentor there for me. For the last 7 years, I've been doing consulting, mostly pipelines, wastewater and water treatment plants, utilities-based kind of stuff and things like that, and got kind of interested in the multifaceted projects on the public side. And when the opportunity arose for me to work in a city I grew up in and around, I jumped at the opportunity. I'm really glad to be here.
Welcome.
Thank you. Welcome.
Do we have any questions for Cam? Otherwise, we got to take our infamous
picture.
Are you excited about our new water plant?
Yeah, I am. I've got some experience with RO stuff in the past too, so when you guys are doing an RO plant, I really like that.
Great.
And besides consulting, have you worked for any firms, or what's your experience?
Well, the firms I started they were consulting firms, so like a smaller firm, Reese Engineering, and then it was CHA was kind of, they bought Reese Engineering out, and then just came most recently from Wade Trim in their Palm Bay office.
Stole them from the private side to the good side.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you. Thank you, thank you. All right, there are no modifications to the agenda, so we'll get right to the public hearing. And
I have a question. If I were to want to table something, should I do that now, modifications, or should I wait?
You certainly can. Go do it now.
We received a document dump on this rezoning project here about 4:05, right before we were getting ready for this meeting, and really haven't had time to process it all. I kind of asked for it on Friday. It's the old ordinances, and it's quite a bit of information. There's a big packet of information to go through, and I want to request or make a motion that we table it until we can process all the information we got.
This is
Next meeting.
No.
What's that?
5A.
Yes, 5A. Sorry.
Am I allowed to ask?
Yes, please.
What information did you get today, or is that something we all got, or?
Yeah, it was in your email. It was the previous ordinance. There was some information on how the property was zoned originally and how it was cut up and divvied up into different portions. And big packet was some comprehensive plan amendment. I haven't even been able to get through it. I was reading all the ordinance stuff up to the last minute until I could get in here, and I couldn't get through it all. So, I mean, I think.
And it's all pertinent to the decision that we're looking at tonight?
I think so.
Okay, well, Mr. Rhodey, you have any comments on it?
Yeah, so during some of the council briefings, council members had asked for the original ordinances back 35 years ago when this property, when the 1,100 acres originally came into the city as supporting documents to our presentation. And so this afternoon we put that together and emailed it out. And present.
4:45.
Yeah, I've not seen it. I wouldn't want to have that have pertinent information and not have that before
Well,
we discuss.
apparently, I'm being told that the comprehensive plan hasn't changed, and it was based off of this information. So, I mean, right? That's what you told me earlier. correct?
There's no new information, just the supporting documents from questions that came up.
So, I mean, I'm seeing in this one document where it's talking about how a portion of the land is medium density residential, and a portion of it was commercial, and I don't know if it was supposed to be residential property, then we shouldn't be rezoning it to commercial. So I'm just not clear on the facts because I just got this information and I'm just trying to process it.
All right, there's a motion on the floor to table. Is there a second? I don't see anything. Are you pushing your button?
Oh, I thought I pushed the, oh, my light's not working, that's why.
Okay, Ms. Adams?
Oh, there you go. I'll second for a question. Mr. Rhodey, there are steps that applicants have to take in terms of public notice and things like that. And I know we have certain requirements as a city to do so in a timely manner. Would tabling this impact any of that notification?
I will not put my city attorney hat on because we have a city attorney.
City attorney, same question.
Yeah, the statute was actually amended last year to formally allow you to table a motion or excuse me, table an agenda item for a date certain, and that would not require renotice. I would also just like to point out that the applicants in the audience and came from down from several states away, and so it may be appropriate to get their thoughts on tabling it since it's their application. But that's obviously the will of the council how they want to handle it.
What?
So have them speak.
All right, Ms. Adams, are you keeping your second?
I will, but I would like to know if we can ask the applicant about timeline.
Certainly. Ask about timeline.
This out. Why didn't we get it?
Good evening. For the record, I'm Mark Watts. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Cobb Cole, and my address is 231 North Woodland Boulevard, DeLand. Appreciate the opportunity to be here. Happy to answer any question you might have with regard to schedule. Obviously, our goal is to make sure you feel like you have all the information you need to make an informed decision. We appreciate the time we spent with your staff working through the application, looking through the consistency with the comprehensive plan and everything else. The property has been kind of in this commercial classification for 35 some odd years, so a couple weeks isn't going to impact things one way or another. We ultimately don't have specific plans for the property right now other than to bring the zoning and the comp plan into consistency with one another. So if that's the will of the council, we're happy. We're also happy to proceed tonight if that's what you're comfortable doing. So
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, we have a motion and a second. All those,
I have a question.
yes. Oh, I'm sorry, and I still have I still have to talk to Ms. Volz. Yes, Pat.
Oh, I thought you were going there. I want to ask the city attorney I haven't seen, and what Steve's talking about, I mean, I trust what he says. He's got a document. I've got the email, I'm sure. Is that going to impact anything that we say or do tonight? Or, I know he doesn't know because we haven't had time to look at it yet. And I'm in favor of looking at something.
I mean, my view is the same as the city manager's. It's supporting documentation that supports what we've already briefed, and I don't think there's anything in there that would change the legal posture of this, but obviously, it's up to you all how you want to handle it as far as if you want to give yourselves a couple weeks to look at it. The other thing I would just remind you is that this is an ordinance, so there are 2 readings, so it's going to be coming back in 2 weeks regardless of whether you table it or not. So it's entirely your discretion how you want to handle it. The applicant has said they could support it either way, so if you feel like there might be something in there that could
I don't feel either way. I'm asking you because
I don't believe there's anything in there that changes anything that we've told you so far.
I would just like to comment and say we've got a ton of emails on this, and I think we should give it our full attention and review everything that we should review. We just got this documents 15 minutes before we were supposed to leave for the meeting. Isn't that the prudent thing to do?
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing or agreeing with you. I'm simply asking the attorney and the city manager if they've seen this document and if they know that it may change our mind, may give us new information, may anything. And it sounds like you're saying, no, it's not.
Yeah, the ordinances are, what we knew they were. The new part is planning staff today discovered the development agreement, which I told you a little bit about already. But the development agreement, as I noted, essentially said that some of the parcels would be commercial and some would be residential. I think the question that Councilmember Frampus has is, are the ones that were in the development, were they properly zoned according to what it said in the development agreement? The issue I have legally,
That's not what I'm saying.
okay, then maybe I misunderstand.
I'm saying that it's different in the ordinance than what you said. You didn't even refer to the ordinance, which is still in effect. That I granted that the development agreement is past its 30-year lifespan, but the ordinance is still in effect.
Yeah, and my understanding is the ordinance gave the future land use in accordance with what we have today, the commercial future land use. I haven't seen anything that would lead me to believe to the contrary, but again, if you all don't feel comfortable with that, certainly you could table the issue until the next meeting.
All right, so thank you for that answer. Mayor, I personally, this is kind of a surprise to get something like this. This is a big deal for the city. It's a big deal for the residents that are in these surrounding communities. I want to make sure we get it right. I don't know that there's anything in here that would change my mind, but not having read it, I don't know that there isn't. So, I've got to be extra careful because I don't want to do something that may be difficult to change later. So I think in this case, unfortunately, I'm going to not support doing it tonight. Thank you, Mayor.
All right. Mr. Frampus, your light is still on?
I'm sorry.
All right. So, all right, we have a motion on the floor. We have a second. All those, and we have a date certain for the next meeting of March 4th. Is that correct? Is that our date certain?
So if there's a consensus or a positive vote to move it, to table the issue until the next meeting, then you would announce the date certain publicly, which would avoid having to renotice the ordinance.
Is this a public notification now when I say date certain, March 4th?
Well, it's not a date certain until you find out if you have the will of the council to move it.
All right, all right.
Because the majority of the council could still decide to move forward tonight, and then you wouldn't need to do that.
Should I make that part of the motion? Is that what you're saying?
If you would like to, yes.
I'll make it part of the motion that it be the next meeting if you're saying that's the 4th.
Thank you, Ms. Adams.
I'll take that as a friendly amendment to the motion.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor of tabling this item tonight signify by saying aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Item is tabled until March 4th, the next meeting.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Apologize to the audience, maybe.
Well, thank you all for coming out tonight. We'll just pause. We'll take a little break here for about 5 minutes while the council chambers clears. I'm assuming you're not going to want to stay.
Stay for the rest of our
Unless you want to stay
meeting
for the
if
rest
you
of the
want.
meeting, you certainly are welcome to.
Based on the smiles.
Oh, we tried. Now they're left.
Oh.
Sorry, guys.
Okay, well, that was easy.
Thanks for staying.
All right, we'll move on to the next item. And that is the annual update of the 5-year capital improvement plan.
Good evening, Mayor, Council.
Evening.
Just want to present the second reading for the annual 5-year CIP. Again, we did the presentation last meeting, no significant changes. And again, this document is kind of the kickoff to the budget, not the actual budget 5-year CIP, but it is the more for the planning document, the comprehensive plan document that requires us to do update our annual 5-year CIP capital improvement plan. And so asking for approval from the council for the second reading of our CIP.
All right, thank you. I'm sorry, I thought someone was going to come up and, all right, second reading here. All right, so then we have no speaker cards on this item? We have nothing?
And my apologies, Mayor, we do need to read that.
All right, thank you. Would you please read?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is ordinance number 2025-03, an ordinance of the City of West Melbourne, Brevard County, Florida, adopting the annual update to the capital improvements element of the comprehensive plan, consistent with Chapter 163 Florida statute, providing for the repeal of ordinances and resolutions in conflict herewith, providing for severability and interpretation, and providing an effective date. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Frampus?
Thank you, Mayor. Make a motion that we adopt the second reading of ordinance number 2025-03 as written.
All right, thank you. Ms. McGuire?
I'll second that.
All right, thank you. We have a motion and a second by Frampus and Mr. Frampus and Ms. McGuire. All those in favor of adopting the 5-year capital improvement plan signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. All right, next item is the public forum. We have nothing? All right, thank you. This is easy. Consent agenda. Consent agenda. We're approving the council special workshop minutes of January 25th and approve the regular council meeting. Mr. Bentley.
I'd make a motion to approve the council workshop minutes and the regular council meeting minutes of Tuesday.
Thank you. Mr. Gaylord.
I'll second that.
All right, thank you. We have a motion by Mr. Bentley and a second by Mr. Gaylord. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. All right, thank you. Next item, item 8, action agenda. Here we go. U-lining pour in place pipe storm drainage pipe. Mark.
Say that again.
I can't say that again. U-lining cure in place piping of the storm drainage pipe. Here we go. Mr. Picarello.
I bet he can say it real quick.
No.
Okay, good evening, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, council members. This is a CIP project that we're working on to fix a deteriorating metal pipe up on Technology Drive. We are using Citriform Technologies. We used them in the past, same thing as 17 years for doing our drainage pipes, along with our sewer gravity pipes also. So we got a proposal from them to do 240 feet of a 54-inch elliptic pipe that runs east and west along Technology Drive. And the reason why we're going to line this section, this project is a 2-part section, but the reason we're going to line this one is so we don't disturb the industry that's there with their driveway. They got a double driveway there. There's a bunch of older oak trees that run along this pipe with the roots, so we figured that lining it would be more appropriate than digging the pipe up and removing it. So that's why the first section of pipe, the 240 feet, is we're requesting to have it lined. The next section of pipe runs south, north and south, which is about 400 feet, and that'll probably be presented next week where that pipe will be removed and replaced. We do have a grant for that section. We have a $150,000 grant for that section, but that calls for us to remove the pipe due to the grant. So this is a lining that we're looking to have done on this first section of pipe. And it's my recommendation that City Council authorize the city manager to award the contract to Insitropharm Technologies through the piggyback contract number 23-065 WPW with DuPage County, Illinois, in the amount of $150,000. Insitropharm Technology, LCC, are members of the Omnia Partners, which stands for the largest, most experienced group of purchasing organization in the United States, and we're a member also. As you can see, we budgeted $300,000 for this project, and $150,000 will be for the first part of the project.
All right, thank you. All right, Ms. Bolts.
Yes, I would like to make a motion to approve the recommendation, authorize the city manager to award the contract to Insitropharm Technologies through the piggyback contract number 23-065-PW with DuPage County, Illinois, which I thought was really strange from the last time. I was like, why are we doing something from
Is that part of your
there?
motion?
That is, no, yeah, sure, why not? That's my motion.
All right, thank you. Ms. Adams?
I'll second with a question.
All right, thank you. Question, please?
Do you know, based on the second half of the project, or do we not have those numbers yet, if it will remain potentially under budget? Are we at budget, or are we looking at this project going over budget?
It'll probably be under the 150 that we have left, and what we're gonna do, because it is in a right-of-way, there's nothing involved, there's nothing that's gonna be hampered, because it runs from Technology to our canal. So with that money, we're gonna do as much as we can with the grant money, the 150, and then next year we'll finish the rest of the piping.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Mr. Frampus, you have a question?
Yes, ma'am. Mark, the $300,000 that was budgeted for this project, that's not just this one section we're talking about right now, right?
Correct.
So it's the entire project is $300,000?
No, actually, we put in for a grant for 400,000, and we only got 150. So the city kicked in 150 to give us a 300 now. So
So the entire project's probably going to be 400 and,
probably a little more, right, correct.
so the 300,000 you're talking about is our 150 plus the grant of 150, so.
Correct.
So the next project that comes up is going to be part of this 300,000.
Yeah, so next council meeting, I'll bring up the, because they were just getting the figures in now from the contractor to rip and replace. And the luxury we have is that, like I said, it's just in the right of way. It doesn't involve anybody. It's not going to disturb anything. So for the 150, we're going to go maybe 200 feet with new pipe, rip out. They're going to install a box so that next year we'll continue from the box to the canal.
So on our original grant request that we got, the 154, this portion of the line wasn't in that original request? Because you said the entire project's 450,000, you said there?
Yep. We didn't realize that when we got the grant that it was going to be specified that it had to be ripped out and replaced.
So did we have to change the language of the grant to
No.
eliminate this portion since we're ulining this?
No, because it was a matching grant, so the portion that they're covering, we're gonna dig, we're gonna, what they call open dig. That's the second half that Mark will bring forward next meeting, but
So even though we're combining the two, it doesn't violate the
doesn't violate it.
grant? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bentley, you have a question?
Yes, thank you. Mark, what's the life expectancy of a U-line pipe, and what's the life expectancy of a new pipe?
Life expectancy could be up to 50 years on a line pipe. The new pipe would
51?
Plastic pipe would be probably a little bit longer with plastic, yes.
Really? So a relined pipe is as good as a new pipe?
Yes, yes.
So then why do we ever replace a pipe instead of just lining it?
Because, again, for the location of where it is, I didn't want to end up killing all the roots and all the.
No, I get that one, but why not reline the other one instead of putting
Oh,
new in?
because it'll be too much money to line 400 feet.
Thank you.
So if we're doing 240 feet, it's 150. So if we were doing the extra 400 feet, now that's going to double that price over what we.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. I'm looking for a motion.
One on the floor.
I'm sorry, you had questions. Yes, thank you. We have a motion, Volz, and we have a second by Ms. Adams. All those in favor of the U-line pipe signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Thank you very much, Mr. Piccirillo. Item B is yours as well, and that's rehabilitation of clarifier number 1, replacement of the C30 HT drive unit on the clarifier.
Yes, this is a maintenance project, we're looking to do. The manufacturer installed the clarifier back in 1989. We did replace it in 2006, and so we're looking to obviously getting the lifespan completed on that as a proactive replacement now. With the clarifier, Ovivio is the manufacturer of the clarifier. That's why this is a sole source. They replaced it back in 2006, and so that's why we're just moving forward with replacing this one at this time.
All right, thank you. Mr. Bentley?
Interesting name. I would make a motion that we approve and award the contract to whatever the name of that company is in the amount of $140,000 as a sole source.
All right, thank you, Mr. Bentley. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Volz. All right, thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion carries. Thank you very much, Mr. Piccirillo. All
Thank
right.
you.
Job.
All right, next item is the contract award for the raw water main conveyance line. Mr. Petroni.
Mark.
Good evening, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, council members. This agenda item is the contract award for the raw water conveyance lines. This project represents the last big piece of our water plant puzzle. With all the production wells being constructed in July 2024, the contract for the development of all the wells has been awarded. It was time now for the conveyance lines that'll bring the raw water from the wells, production wells, to the new water treatment plant, and the lines, the new distribution lines from the water treatment plant out for distribution. After the council approved at the meeting on February 16th in 2024, task order with IEG, which is Infrastructure Engineering Group, was executed for the design and permitting for the raw water conveyance line project. In November of 2024, they actually achieved all the necessary bid docs and plans and allowed me to put out the bid on December 19th of last year, with bids being due February 7th of this year. We received 4 bids, which is really good, with accurate drilling systems presenting the lowest bid. And as usual, we took all the information presented, we checked all the references, everything was verified by the engineer and myself, and based on that, they submitted a letter of recommendation of award. The fiscal aspect of this is at least this bid amount is also below, slightly below what their estimated engineer probable cost was. There's 2 or 3 bid alts that we included in this that you'll see, with 2 of them being negative or reductions that we chose to go with, which is bid alt 1 for $28,130 and bid alt number 3, which is $49,006. We passed on bid alt 2 because it was a slight addition to the project. Based on all that, this project is also fully funded by our budget for the water treatment plant, and that bid amount does include the 5% owner's contingency that we always include. So based on all that, I'm here to recommend you award and approve the city manager to execute the contract with Accurate Drilling Systems in the amount not to exceed $7,915,183.50. And I'm here to answer any questions, which I know a couple of them already have the answers for, I hope.
Thank you, Mr. Petroni. Mr. Frempus.
Make a motion, we approve and authorize city manager to execute a contract with Accurate Drilling Systems in the amount not to exceed $7,915,183.50.
All right, Ms. Adams.
Thank you. I'll second.
Thank you. Ms. Volz?
Yes. I have a question. I was looking at these bids, and, well, first of all, on the bid sheet here, bid summary, it says $7,986,000, which is a little different than the 915. But the question is, there's such a disparity between the lowest bid and the highest bid, and it just, it's like 12.5 million dollars versus $8 million. That just seems like an awful lot of money to be doing the same exact thing. Why is that?
Well, I thought Mrs. Adams was going to ask me that tonight. I was all ready.
Sorry, it's normally me.
Lights probably on.
Well, the one thing I can tell you is we got 4 bids, which is really good. The discrepancy, I have the same answer that I would have if Mrs. Adams asked. I don't know why contractors do what they do. Accurate Drilling seems to be more specialized, I guess, after doing research. They seem to be doing nothing but underground drilling of this nature, which is the directional drilling. This is a very intrinsic and difficult project. It has a lot of directional drills under canals and under main roads, plus almost 3.5 miles of lines have to be put in. Some of these other contractors may not specialize in it and may not know how to bid it properly. That's about the only thing I can probably tell you. A lot of questions I get, especially from Ms. Adams, is why has one contractor got a certain segment that's, I'm not picking on him, but usually it's like,
Yes, he is.
why is one, and well, I was all ready for it tonight, but why has one contractor got an X amount in one sequence, another one's completely crazy? I don't know. We have to go by what the bottom lines are, and this contractor checked out very well and was very highly recommended.
we have
So
10
I'm glad he
million.
came in low.
We have 10 million, 11 million, 12 million, and then 8 million. So it's like, it just seems like there's something wrong with that bid. But the question that I started off with, why is that different than 7,915,000 versus the 7,986?
If you go back when I was going on the fiscal report, the bid alt 1 and bid alt 3 is a reduction of 77,730. So if you subtract that off that amount, you'll come up with the 7,915,183.50. So we put some options in to get the price reduced, which is basically we gave them options to reduce it from a HDPE pipe to a PVC pipe to see if we can get a reduction in the price, trying to save it money anywhere we can. And we did 2 reductions. So that's why from their main bid, we're going and approving this to go with the 2 reductions in the bid.
Like, it just, something just seems off there, I don't know. But anyway, okay, we took the lowest bid.
Thank you, Ms. Adams.
I'm learning, Mark. The day I don't ask is the
Yep.
day that something's wrong with the bid.
Keep asking. I just hope, I'm always surprised when these things come in too, so.
Just wanted you to know that.
That's right.
Yeah, I would have been shocked.
Mr.
yeah.
Gaylord.
Mark, you said at the beginning of your presentation that all the contractors successfully, passed the technical evaluation that you guys had performed on them. I looked at some of the parameters that you guys were listing on the package that you guys gave us, but just for the public.
Yeah, I don't go and spend time and resources checking all the other guys at the $12 million. We checked the guy that came in at the lowest, and Accurate really came in highly referenced. Very well. I didn't see one thing that was a negative on any of their checks, so.
Okay,
Felt
thanks.
pretty comfortable with them.
Appreciate it.
All right, thank you. Ms. Volz, your light is still
Thanks,
on?
Mark.
You have another question? All right, thank you. We have a motion on the floor. Mr. Frambeth?
I got a question.
Mr. Frampus, okay.
Mark, the size of the pipe, it's a 9-inch pipe, is that right, or?
Now, most of them are 16. We got 12 and 16s, and then where they merge together, some even go into 20s.
Some big pipe. And obviously, the contractor's responsible if they hit anything under the ground, correct?
Yeah, there
How's
was
that
part of the task order with IEG is they've done a lot of surveying, a lot of geo, so we kind of know, and plus we've had our own city go out and mark where our own utilities are. They are ultimately responsible, but we try to do everything we can so they don't hit them. But
Like on, I guess Ellis it was, we found some, or no, it was on Sheridan, we found some buried gas lines
line.
that we didn't know were there, so,
well, we knew they were there. They just weren't where they were supposed to.
they were at the wrong depth, right? So if that's the case and they still hit them, it's our responsibility or theirs because we gave them the wrong information?
They hit, they pay. They break you, they pay. But there's not a whole lot in some of these areas, like along Fell Road, we have our water line, and this is going to be, there's enough separation that hopefully the contractor has enough room not to hit.
Obviously,
But I can't.
things happen, so.
Correct.
And I'm guessing that's part of the bid price that, you know, they plan for some kind of
Yeah,
repairs, I guess.
I'm out there a lot, but I can't hold their hand. That's why they're getting paid the big dollars.
Sure. All right, thank you.
All right, all those in favor to award the contract for raw water main conveyance line signify by saying aye. Those opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Thank you very much. The next item is yours as well, which is a task order for engineering services during construction of the Westbrook Flood District project.
You said it great. That's exactly why we're here. This basically is to discuss a task order for ISS, which is Infrastructure Solution Services versus IEG on the last one. Back in April 2023, task order was executed with them for them to start doing some investigation as to what the problems may exist and what solutions may also exist to help Westbrook, the subdivision, out with their flood issues. They went and conducted, based on that task order, they went and conducted a lot of surveying work within Westbrook, as well as in all the, surrounding canals. And in C69, they found a couple areas of concern, including a number of culverts that are actually higher than they're supposed to be. Those areas were causing the water not to flow as it should all the way through the C69 canal system. They presented, ISS presented solutions, and the bypass system was basically suggested, which has been passed. The contract has been awarded to basically bypass the 3 problem culverts. We held public meetings about it. Everything's been good. Now that the contract has been awarded, I have a pre-con set up for this project starting March 5th. And now that we're this far along, this task order is to have the engineering services for ISS for construction, administration, and observation during the project. The fiscal aspect of this, there's $1,260,000 in FY 2025 for the flood risk reduction project, and this allocation is comprised of our stormwater utility fund, as well as 2 grants that we received from the Florida Department of Environmental Protection. If there is any shortfall for the construction and engineering, it'll be covered with the stormwater utility fund reserve. Based on all that, I'm here basically again to ask and approve, or recommend that you approve and authorize the city manager to execute the task order with Infrastructure Solution Services in the amount not to exceed $49,985.
All right, thank you. Ms. Adams?
Thank you, Mayor. I will make the motion to approve and authorize the city manager to execute the task order with Infrastructure Solution Services in the amount not to exceed given on the report.
Thank you, Ms. Adams. Mr. Gaylord?
I'll second that motion.
All right, thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Motion carries 7-0. Thank you very, very much. All right, next item, council reports. Mr. Frampus.
Thank you, Mayor. Attended a couple things. Did the annual meeting for the Economic Development Council. That was at the Premier Theaters. That was a nice event. Packed. I don't think there was an open seat, so it was a lot of great people out there, and it's nice talking to everybody. So we did a Space Coast League of Cities 55-year anniversary dinner. That was a nice event. And congratulations to Miss Adams for her Lead Brevard for Under 40 Leadership Award that she got at her dinner. So I'm happy to be serving with such a great leader. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Adams.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple things to note. Apocalypse Coffee had opened its West Melbourne location, which is right in Palm Crossing near the Publix. So they had their grand opening today. It was already very busy when I went, which is great news for them. But if you're a coffee person or you like breakfast and lunch items, they're there, and they're a new West Melbourne business, so just wanted to loop everyone in. I also attended the EDC annual meeting. Their focus this year, now that they, last year had announced their rebrand, and they were really pushing that, this next year they're focusing on phase 2 about getting that support from the community, using it as more of an outreach tool to bring new employees and people here to the Space Coast, which I think with that new information, but also the recent changes we've seen at the space area in terms of employment for a lot of people in our area, I think the next year is going to be really interesting in terms of the relationships with the EDC in regards to large companies that they're trying to attract to our area. So just keeping eyes on that. And then we also had on Valentine's Day the Farm Share event, and I want to say I think I estimated about 300 families we were able to serve with all of the boxes of food that Farm Share had brought. So another great job from our city staff and our police department in terms of coordination. Everything always goes really smoothly, but we always hear really great things from the people that are able to just show up and they realize the need. So just wanted to recognize them for another job well done. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Foltz.
Yes, I attended that Farm Share event, and it was really awesome. I ended up taking, I think, 16 boxes of food and meat over to the school. They just put it all in my car, and I took it over there, and there's a lot of families that were blessed by that couldn't, come, and so that was awesome. And I did go to the Space Coast League of Cities event, and that was very, very nice. And it was so hard to believe that it's 55 years already, celebrating that. And then again, congratulations to Dr. Adams for your. I guess it would be your recognition of all your hard work, which is what it was.
Okay. All right, thank you. Mr. Bentley.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to add a comment to Dr. Adams' accomplishment, just so that everybody knows her husband, Joshua Adams, has also won that award. Makes him one of only 2 couples on the Space Coast where husband and wife have both won that award. So really, congratulations to your family. Thank you, Mayor.
Well, I didn't know that. That is awesome.
All right, Mr. Gaylord.
Continuing the line of embarrassing Miss Adams on the dais, congratulations on winning your Lead Brevard Award. The thing that Mr. Bentley did leave out about her husband also winning the award is that it took him 3 times to win the award and only took her once. So I thought that was pretty funny, but that's just me. So congratulations.
He's not watching tonight, is he?
This guy's cold. Is that it, Mr. Gaylord? Ms. McGuire.
I guess once again, congratulations. And also, I know we got the email about it earlier, but just a reminder for council that tomorrow is the 3rd annual reception for the West Melbourne Business Advisory Committee and the West Melbourne Business Association. I believe it starts at 6 with actual introductions and agenda starting at 6:30 over at the Promise Cafe. And that's all I have.
that it? Okay, all right. You guys have taken all my stuff, other than the congratulations to Ms. Diane. Okay, you've got it all the way around now. It's all over. I'll leave everything else alone because I did the same thing. But in addition, I also went to the oddities market on Sunday, and oh my gosh, oddities. It's a market. There were people, you couldn't walk in that place. There were cars parked pretty much on top of cars, but not exactly. But oh my gosh, we've got to do something for parking over there. It was crazy. They were across the street at the church walking over. They were all down Fell Road. I know the people that live down Fell Road were not happy with that at all, but it was quite an event. I don't know what the big draw is. I've actually gotten out before and went there to the booths, but not exactly my kind of things. But other than that, it was a great event, and I was glad to see that many people there enjoying it, and the park was busy, so that was great to see. Also, on Saturday, I went to the funeral for Paul Gugelman, the attorney Paul Gugelman, and it was sad. It was nice to see people, but there's certainly the reason for it was very, very sad, so we were represented there. That will be the end of my report, and now we go on to the Chief of Police, the annual report for the West Melbourne Police Department.
Good evening, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, Council. It's a pleasure to be presenting our annual report for 2024 of the Police Department activities. As you know, I'm pretty proud of the team over there and what they're able to accomplish, so try to be respectful of your time and get through this, but I just want to highlight all the divisions and what they did during 2024. Starting out with, of course, we always recognize our outstanding employees. And we have a awards committee that's made up of employees that do regular nominations quarterly. So the ones that you see there, the quarterly awards, officers of the quarter, they are also recognized. Many of you attend the chamber luncheon where those are recognized. And one of our field training officers, Ashley Simons, who's on night shift, she was just recently selected as the Officer of the Year. She'll be recognized at the Brevard Chiefs Association in March. So the next couple slides are just new things that we did in 2024, not the ongoing stuff. One thing was the rebranding of the police department patch and the mission statement, and all this was an employee-led initiative. They came up with everything. We held a workshop and did the mission statement and several meetings to finalize the patch design, but happy to get the employees involved in making it theirs and what they wanted of it. So. We were able to do that during 2024. As far as programs, this is actually some of these we talked about last year, but really trying to improve officer wellness, both physical and mental. So we revamped our peer support team. We have several more members that are a part of that, and we'll be undergoing some more specialized training to help after those critical incidents when officers are, face some pretty serious either crime scenes or dangerous encounters themselves. We've been working with UCF Restores to provide check-ins for our people if needed, just, that willingness to reach out and talk to someone when you need to. And then this year we also implemented a voluntary physical fitness program that comes with an assessment in the fall and the ability for people to improve on previous years. So that was the first rollout of that this year. As far as funding, we received $15,000 from Firehouse Subs for AED grant. So we were able to get all those AEDs and replace some older ones and make sure that each squad has one. All parts of the department also worked on a strategic plan this year, and we're well into accomplishing many of those goals. And then, of course, the drone program, which was funded by council. Rolled that out this year. We've used it on a lot of missing person cases, accident scenes, just exactly what we thought we would be using it for. We are, and we've got a team of 5 or 6 people that have been received their pilot certification, and that's always at the ready for us when we need it. So another 2024 initiative was to improve our recruiting and our numbers, and as you can see, we got back up to 108 applications received last year after getting down to almost 53, a couple years ago. Some of the things we did there is we updated our recruiting website. We put a little QR code on our squads on a magnet that if someone's walking by, they can, if they scan that, it'll take them to our recruiting website. Just more visits to the police academy when they're doing the physical agilities testing and trying to catch those candidates that maybe haven't committed to an agency yet. And then, of course, some recruiting fairs. So happy to say that our numbers have greatly improved on both the applications. And right now, we're actually, when you count the people that are either in background or in the academy, we only have one vacancy at this point. So still takes a little while to get them on the road, but we're in a much better position. Also in 2024, we rolled out a new program with the McDonald's, which is the Cone with a Cop. The mobile response team, we worked with Brevard Cares. And so if we get out to one of those calls that, you know, the police were initially called, but you know, maybe the family just needs some counseling or some additional resources, we can call their team out and they'll come out usually within an hour's notice and provide those services that are maybe better given by them and not the police. We'll get there and stabilize the situation and then get them involved going from there. We trained 2 people on car safety seat installations, and residents have been scheduling time to come into the PD and get those installed. A really good car seat install probably takes a good half hour to do to make sure everything is properly done. We also received high visibility enforcement grant funding from FDOT, $5,000, and then that was renewed for this current year for $5,000. And we start with education, where we're making contact with bicyclists and motorists and pedestrians along 192, wherever is identified as, you know, a higher incident zone. And then once we go past education, then we move into the warnings, and then we move into actual citations. And that's all kind of, the grant kind of lays out the 3 phases that you do. So we're just starting our 2nd year of that. Yes?
Are we still doing the bicycle helmet initiative?
We are.
Is that dried up?
No, we are. We still have access to that. So, and then some of just I won't read all these, but this is our, as you know, we have a number of ongoing things that have been in place for a period of time or started in the last couple of years, and keeps us busy throughout the year. But really, it's about building the relationships and getting to know the community, and it's interesting what comes out of all the events that we have and all the times that we're out there interacting. So, the big number, right? What's crime doing? Crime is actually going in a good direction. We topped out over 45,000 calls for service last year. But the good thing is Part 1 crimes, which is all, you know, the homicide, rape, robbery, ag assault, burglary, theft, and motor vehicle theft and arsons, those were actually down 4.5% last year compared to the year before. And violent crime, which is the top 4, that was down 22% compared to the year before. So glad to see that moving in the right direction. Drug arrests are up, DUI arrests are up, and then we had a significant increase in our traffic and parking enforcement numbers. Part of that was because of our improved staffing levels, also having more, we were able to have our traffic units filled, those positions filled, and get them out on the street so they can really be focusing on the DUIs and the high accident zones and the enforcement that we need out there. So positive numbers as far as that goes.
Chief, one question on
Yep.
the numbers. The 619% increase, is there a new initiative on checking parking spaces, or it can't all just be because we were understaffed?
Well, most of it was because we were only with one public service aide the year before. And so they're, you know, between the traffic control they have to do and the other just assisting with accidents, there wasn't much time for them to do proactive enforcement. Now we have 2 PSAs. And
who's doing most of the
yeah.
parking violations?
Yep, and they spent a lot of time going to the different shopping centers looking for handicap violations and stuff like that. So we are able to do more proactive enforcement now.
Good.
So, and most of that is done by the PSAs, so. Our support service division was very busy this year. Like I said, 7 new officer hires. We have one that's, he should be probably about 6 weeks out from being released as a solo patrol officer. 4 officers that are currently in the academy. 2 are finishing in 2 or 3 weeks, and then a couple more that just started in January. So And then, of course, our support services is in charge of all our annual and ongoing training. So you can see the list of everything that, not only by statute, but just good practice on what we should be refreshing our people in training every year. The Office of Professional Standards and Accreditation, we're now entering our third year of this accreditation assessment. So we'll be due for an on-site come this December, but we're in good shape and ready to go for that. They assisted in the sergeant, lieutenant, and commander promotion process. They help, vet, make sure that everyone meets the qualifications that they need to. Of course, we had the one activation for the hurricane. They also review all of our response to resistance, which is, of course, just use of force. We had 13 last year. So it went from 23 2 years ago, went down to 9 last year, and it's up at 13 this year. So, a little bit of an increase from last year, but it just depends on what type of calls you're dealing with. But those do get reviewed all the way through the chain of command, including myself, every time we use any type of use of force to make sure it's all within policy. We did have 4 vehicle pursuits. We had 6 crashes. 2 of them were preventable. And then, of course, if they are preventable, we handle anything like that through progressive discipline, depending on the severity. We didn't have any internal affairs investigations. That doesn't mean we didn't have any citizen concerns or someone being concerned, but something that rose to the level of a major complaint that would be considered an internal affairs investigation. We didn't have any cases that required that last year, which is good. So. And then, of course, 32 different candidates entered the background process for everything from our code enforcement spot that we filled to PSA to police officer. We didn't hire 32, but a lot get weeded out in the background process. So you don't know until you really dive into that background what you're going to come upon, and we want to hold those standards up. So busy year for OPS and accreditation. Records, you kind of know how many, we did 45,000 calls for service last year, so that's pretty apparent. But there's so much more that goes into it for their job, the accidents, and then the 5,800 public records requests. There really is, we get a lot of report requests that come through and evidence requests, and so they have to make sure they're staying on top of that. So, and then they assist with the customers that come to the window that need assistance. As I mentioned, several of you attended, we were able to have some promotions this year that we had held off on. The first priority was street coverage and getting that covered. But you do need management and correct supervision in place too. So, but we got to the point this year that we could fill the other commander position, which of course, and the other patrol lieutenant. And then when you promote someone, the domino effect. So we had a patrol sergeant, a commander promotion, 2 lieutenant promotions, and a patrol sergeant promotion. We do have one more promotion for the sergeant and support services that handles all the training and all that. That'll come later this year once we're able to do that. But these people are all certainly well-deserving, and they're doing great in their new roles. The strategic response team, a little bit of update to that. So last year, they were involved in 5 search warrant executions and then 2 barricaded subjects that were resolved peacefully. So that was good. And the vehicle, you'll see on the right side of the screen there, the Teradyne that City Council approved us to purchase this past year. We're still on pace for a May delivery. And it just got out of the paint shop last week, and now they're putting in windows and finalizing some of the interior stuff. So that's coming along really good, and we don't expect any delays in that delivery.
Wait, there's 2 vehicles there.
Yeah, so one is...
Please tell me it's not the one on the top.
One is pre-painted, and the other is painted, so...
One looks rough.
The beginning, that was in the stages of the build, so...
Okay.
It's not buy one, get one?
No. And we didn't order 2.
Thank you.
I'd be in real trouble if that happens. But yeah, that's why you see that. That was just kind of an update photo. Code enforcement, this was the first full year that it was in the police department. The year before, it was about like a half year or so. So they processed 209 complaints, and they were able to get 170 cases, people to comply shortly after notification. And I think what we find is most code cases, once people know someone's watching, or, you know, they know that they're kind of out of it, most people come into compliance, and you got to check back up on them, but many of them just need a gentle nudge once in a while, and, you know, that's always been the goal of the code enforcement, is to get compliance. Of course, when they don't comply, we have to go to code board, and there was 17 summons issued and 8 cases that went before the board. 6 of them are still pending resolution, but 97% of the cases opened last year were closed successfully. So, and as you can see, it's usually the quality of life, the life ones that they're working with, which is, you know, people working without permit, and then just the visibility of trash and yards. So,
Chief, I have a question.
yes.
My next door neighbor, he's a renter, and I don't know how many people are living there, but they have 7 cars, 2 big trucks. They block the sidewalk continuously. I don't know them, but I texted the owner, and she said that she would take care of it. And I don't really want to put in a complaint
Too late.
being on city council, you know.
Hey.
I know. And if I can't see pulling out of my driveway, backing out, because they have their cars lined up. I mean, sometimes it gets really bad.
So Florida statute doesn't allow for anonymous complaints, but certainly if we happen to be driving by and see something, we can take action. So we'll take a look at that. So, but complaints cannot be anonymous. I can become the complainant on certain things.
Yeah.
But it is something, just so you're familiar with, when someone can't just call us and say, I want to put an anonymous complaint on a residence, we cannot take those. So.
Well, the owner knows, because I did tell her, but yes.
I would
know.
consider that not being anonymous anymore, so.
Yes, I know.
Criminal Investigations Division, they handled 461 cases last year, which is +5 from 2023. Clearance rate of about 48%, which is a decent number. You know, so any crime that gets committed, there's a lot of them that there's just no tangible evidence or successful leads. I mean, that's the nature of the beast. But they made 55 cases with arrests. Some of them were unfounded, some referrals out, and they closed or suspend the rest of the cases. So what we do is they have their own internal meetings, but then every 2 weeks, the command staff meets with the investigations and the special investigations unit, and we go over cases, progress, where things are going, what, you know, any trends they're seeing, and make sure that they're staying on top of those cases too. So, and then special investigations, they did 46 cases last year. So majority of their cases are drug related, but they have done investigations into some prostitution, gaming machines, stuff like that. So they're heavily involved in those cases. But they made 51 arrests last year. Another thing that they focus on is our problem areas, which is the same as patrol. You know, those areas or locations that we know are a problem in town, we can utilize them to focus on those. And actually, one of our more frequent locations that's been discussed by council in the past, the number of calls for service there were down significantly last year. So we hope that continues. So.
How many officers are in that unit?
There is a sergeant and 2 officers. So 3 full-time dedicated to it.
Good work for 3 people.
Yeah. They do really good work. We do have a crime scene unit, a person that does that, and also someone that manages our property and evidence. So last year, almost 4,000 items were processed. 818 items were released either back to owner or, you know, once a case was resolved. And then they were called out to process 59 crime scenes. So that includes criminal matters and also serious bodily injury crashes and fatalities. So they stay pretty busy processing those scenes. And that's my overview. I'm certainly happy to answer any questions or share any feedback that you might.
Ms. Adams?
Thank you, Mayor. I do have some questions.
Sure.
But first, I just want to thank you for your service, for running an efficient department. I also, as noted in your report, in being selective with the applicants that we have, I think being selective allows us to, when we know our residents deserve exceptional service from our officers, because a lot of them, you and I have talked before, sometimes they interact with them on a resident's potentially worst day. And so having that good public service and good quality of customer service really makes a big difference, and that's done by exceptional officers. So just want to thank you for being selective with that. My questions, just going in order of my notes, in regards to the peer support team, do we have feedback from our officers on how it's working and any changes that we've made, just getting feedback for that program?
Nothing, no formal feedback.
Okay.
But I know we utilized it a couple times last year when we had some traumatic scenes, and we do an initial contact on that day, and then a follow-up CISM, critical incident team meeting after that. So the anecdotal feedback has been positive, just nothing formal that, like a survey or anything.
Okay. Do we know how many calls are made to Brevard Cares, let's say, in the past year? How many of those cases need that type of support?
I don't have that number, but I can get it to you and make sure I share it with you. So
Okay.
I know the officers have been pleased with their response and their ability to come out and do that. So
That's great.
yeah.
Do you know how many open cases we have currently? I know we went over how many were closed from last year.
Criminal investigation cases?
Yes.
I'm not sure of the number right now.
Okay. Thank you. Those are all my questions.
Ms. Volz?
Yes, you didn't mention the Chick-fil-A event coming up on March 7th.
Yes. Cops on.
Is everybody involved? Is everybody going to be, anybody else?
I'm going.
Okay, you're going?
Or are you checking?
No, I need to raise some money, and so anybody who, is not going, we could use some money to get out of the coop, so.
Enough questions.
Yeah.
No, all are invited, March 7th at the Chick-fil-A, 6 to 8 p.m. Come on out, we're raising some money for Special Olympics, that's what that whole event is for.
Thank you. Chief, the plate readers, the stationary as well as the mobile
Yes.
plate readers, are they as helpful as they have been in the
They're
past?
fantastic, yeah. We have 14 of them now, and strategically placed. They're really good, not only for the hot list that we get notified when something stolen or of interest to us comes into town, but for criminal investigation after the fact. We've solved a lot of cases through the flock system, so they're a really good investment, an extra set of eyes, and great piece of technology.
Okay, and those are just on a pole somewhere. You don't even notice them. It's just a camera, and it picks up your plate, and it puts it through a system, and then alerts an officer. I'm saying this for the benefit of the people in the audience
Yeah,
that may not
so
know.
there's a couple portions to it. There's national hot lists for stolen vehicles, missing persons, a number of reasons why a vehicle might be in NCIC as an alert. The officers will get notified if one of those vehicles are encountered on the camera.
Okay.
At the same time, cars that pass by, the data is kept for 30 days, and then we're able to do searches. So, let's say we had a white work van with a ladder on top approach kids, right, in a certain block. We can go on there and search for a white work van with a ladder. I mean, you can get pretty specific, and it will go and help us find that, and then we'll just have the photos, and then it'll allow us to do further investigation. The data is only kept for 30 days. Every single search is audit tracked, so you have to be logged in, and you also have to provide a case number on why you're doing a search. So it's, ACLU, probably, they're not big supporters of license plate readers, but every guidance that I've seen them give, we follow those guidance as far as only keeping it for a limited period of time. They had requested no more than 30 days in several states, and, we follow that, so.
Yeah, thank you. I am grateful to live in this city, and law enforcement is a big reason why. It's a great city. I'm from Detroit, so imagine how happy I am to be here. So, any other questions for the chief while he's here giving the report? Because we still have to hear from Mr. Rohde.
Dang.
I missed them on the reports, on the management reports. I missed them and went right into the chief. So, any other questions for the chief?
No,
Thanks for your support.
Thank you very much. Mr. Rhodey, anything you'd like to add to our report? I have egg on my face.
I'll keep
sorry.
mine brief. And Chief, thank you for the great report, and thank you for not bringing Commander Romano to talk more about flock. It's the first year we haven't had the 15-minute flock presentation. We appreciate that. The camera system that we're very proud of. No, just thank you to Councilmember McGuire, who mentioned tomorrow night, come on out for our West Melbourne Business Association and West Melbourne Business Advisory Committee meeting. We'll do a nice presentation and a brief state of the city presentation and give some interesting fun facts about West Melbourne.
Ms. Adams?
I just had a quick question for Mr. Rhodey.
Yes, ma'am.
Where are we at with the crosswalk improvements? I know we have the pilot design that's on Wingate by the schools, and I love it, and so I was just curious where we were with that.
Yeah, we're checking a little bit of issue with one of the areas kind of came apart on us a little bit, and so we're just double checking to make sure the paint that, whether the paint we used or applied, just want to double check so that when we put it down, it's, you know, what we're trying to avoid is any kind of maintenance issue, and want to make sure that when we do put them down, they at least give us a couple years of good visibility.
Thank you.
Ms. Volz?
Yes, I have a comment about that. I was at a park in, I believe it was Port St. Lucie, and their walkways, they have huge red, bright red hearts on both sides. So you really can't miss that it is a walkway. And I said something to my niece about it, and I said, what is that for? She said that there was somebody killed at that particular intersection in the park, and she said everybody down there absolutely loves those big red hearts, and they know exactly what they're there for and how they need to slow down or stop.
Excellent.
Thank you. Mr. Frampus?
About the crosswalks, I know we talked about making it a priority and getting it done. How many are we looking at doing, and where? I mean,
Yeah, I believe we identified 4 on Westbrook, and in between the two Westbrooks, if you want to.
But we talked about other areas of the city, so.
And then, yeah, we'll ultimately be able to do at least 6 or 8 this year.
Oh, good.
Identifying intersections that we own that aren't county or state is the key. And then making sure we have the right application. Again, we don't, ideally, we don't want to paint them repaint them every year. We just want to do it right the first time. And kudos to our Public Works crew who did that, took that project on, and I think did a really good job. It looks really great. We just want to make sure it's going to stick after we apply it.
Thank you. Ms. Volz, do you have another question?
No.
All right, Mr. Carey?
So I know some of you are interested in going up to legislative action days for the Florida League of City from on the end of March. However, just did want to let you know that there is a beginning of session legislative preview that the league is doing through a webinar, and it's on February 20th at, just a second, 2 p.m. So if you need the link, you should have gotten it from the league, but let me know. All of you won't be interested in it, that's fine, but for those of you who are and want to know what's coming up on the legislative agenda this year, they always provide a really good preview. And for those of you that like to go to the Code Enforcement Board meeting, I was just informed today that it's canceled. Both of the cases they have did come into compliance, and so there's no need to hold the hearing. And I don't think that's been announced yet, and it's still on the city website as far as I know, but just didn't want anyone to show up and find an empty room.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Carey? No. All right. Anything else for the good of the order? Any other comments? Otherwise, we'll adjourn the meeting. All right, meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.